we are going to get to draw our Jen Stark style drippy drawing. And we're going to start by drawing some curvy lines that look like drifts. And we'll start at the top of our page somewhere in the middle and draw a line that swoops down and curves back up and down. Maybe this one's a little longer and back up and down. Maybe this one's a little shorter and then over to the side like that. And we'll draw a line just inside this line or just above this line that is about a finger space away from our first line, and we'll try to make it equally distant from that first line all the way along so they're really evenly spaced. Now it's okay if in some spots it's a little farther apart, in some spots it's a little closer together, but the goal is to try to get it so it looks like it's somewhat evenly spaced. Doesn't have to be perfect, because a real dripping paint would not necessarily be perfectly evenly spaced. Okay, so once you're done with that, then you'll be able to color in this section with one of the color schemes that you learned about. Will either be in color wheel order, like rainbow order, or it would be an analogous color scheme, which is 3 colors that are close together on the color wheel, or it might be your complementary colors, and those would be colors that are opposite on the color wheel, or you could even do a black and white section. So I'm starting with my color wheel order or rainbow order section, and I'm taking my time and coloring it in all the way so it looks nice and neat. Okay, next I'm going to start my next section of my Jen Stark drip drawing, and I'm going to start somewhere in the middle down here and make a curvy line that goes down and up and down and up and down and off the side. Same thing as we did before. We want to make a line that's about a finger space away from the first line that follows the contour of that curving line, trying to maintain that distance of about a finger space, and it's okay if it gets slightly wider or slightly narrower in a few spots. Now in this section, you can choose one of those color schemes that we talked about before. It might be an analogous color scheme, it might be black and white, or it might be complementary. I am going to choose colors that are close together on the color wheel. This is my analogous color scheme for this section. Okay, now that I have my analogous color scheme section done, I'm going to start my next section. And for this, I think I'll start right in the middle somewhere like this and make a few drips that go down and swoop up and down and up and down and up. And then we'll do exactly the same thing that we did before by making the contour lines just as much close together or as evenly spaced as possible. And with this section, you can choose your color scheme. This might be your color scheme where you have your complementary colors, or you get to decide, maybe it's your black and white section. For me, I'm going to choose this as my black and white section. If you find that your hand is getting in the wet ink over here, you could always put a piece of scrap paper underneath your hand so that your hand is resting on something dry, so your hand doesn't get dirty. Okay, and we will repeat the same steps that we did before, making some curvy lines that look like drips for this section, and we're going to do the same thing with the evenly spaced contour lines, and in this section we will color it in with one of those color schemes that we learned about, either color wheel order, analogous colors, complementary, or black and white. You get to decide what you're doing in this section for yourself. I'm doing complementary, so I've got blue and orange. And then finally, in this section down here, we're going to make our drips as long as we can so they reach all the way down to the bottom, or almost, some of them. So this one is going to come down almost to the bottom. This one's going to come down all the way to the bottom. This one's going to swoop up and kind of look like it's going underneath this one, and then it's going to keep on going. So that's that section, and we'll do exactly the same thing that we did before. And this section, you get to decide. Do you want to repeat your complementary color section? Do you want to repeat your rainbow order color section? Or do you want to repeat your analogous section? You get to decide how you color this one. I'm going to do the color wheel order that I did over here because I think if I did the analogous colors right next to them, then it would look like all one section. You could pick a different group of analogous colors, like maybe something different like this instead if you wanted to, but I think it would look cool if I did color wheel order on mine, so that's the one I'm doing. You pick the color scheme you want for this last section. that's it. You are done with your Jen Stark style drip drawing.